You're gonna realize I can't even see you now. Have to tell me when to go. That must be my cue to go and start talking, right? So you guys, welcome to Logo Design Redo. Today, we're talking to Marcus Rentsch. I hope you guys are seeing me live on YouTube. We'll get this picture thing worked out in a little bit. But what we're doing today is we're talking about logos you love, or more like logos you love to hate. So we're going to get into redesigning a famous logo. And of course, I mentioned at the top of the show, it's going to be Marcus Rentsch. And here's how you get in touch with him. He's at Rentsch.design, and he's from Hamburg, Germany. And this is some of his work. As you guys are very familiar with who he is if you've been watching his channel, because he and Hadil used to kind of do the logo therapy session. But as you know now, we're doing something a little bit different. And the logo he's chosen to redesign is CD Projekt Red. These are supposed to be famous logos. So I asked Marcus right before we went on air, I don't even know who this company is. And then he's going to have to tell us who they are and why he picked them. But we're going to see what he's done with this. So Marcus, tell us why this company, what's wrong with them? What's going on?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. First of all, I wanted to say what company did I choose. So you already heard it, but I'm going to say it anyways. It was a tough decision. I choose CD Projekt Red. So you said before, Chris, you don't even know who that is. So I'm going to say, who is CD Projekt Red? It is a badass video game developer, right? From Poland. They have their headquarters in Warsaw, and they make just awesome games. They're driven by passion, and I think I made myself clear. Or do I need to have to say more?
No,
all right. Okay, here we go. So
you're a gamer. That's why you picked
Yeah.
this company. And
Yeah.
the logo, does it bother you? Do people hate this logo?
I don't think they hate it. I don't hate it either, but I think you can do it a bit better.
Okay.
So,
Fair.
yeah. So, like you see here, they made the awesome Witcher series, the latest game, Witcher Wild Hunt. This is probably the best RPG ever made.
Can you share your screen, Marcus?
Yeah, we can't see it. I was like, maybe it's me.
Okay. Sorry.
No worries, because I was sharing my screen earlier.
Okay.
Yeah, and by the way, it seems like a lot of the audience knows who CD Projekt Red is, so got a lot of gamers out there, I feel like.
Sorry, I'm gonna start again. So, all right. I hope now you can see my screen.
Yep.
Yes, but it's
okay. That's better. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Like I said before, they made the awesome Witcher series, Witcher Wild Hunt, probably the best RPG in the world, hands down. Just finished this masterpiece, and it was truly experience. They're currently working on Cyberpunk 2077. I think that is the most hyped game recently. And also, they are known for Gwent. Gwent is one very famous card game you can play inside when you play Witcher. So it was so popular, they made it their own game. Okay. So why did I choose CDPR? Simply put, they are just different. You see, all games they make or distribute are completely DRM free. That means digital rights management free. You can copy the games, you can run them without discs, or you can burn them on discs, something like that. And that is a huge step forward, I think. And they also are part of their own capital group called CD Projekt SA. And they also own their own digital distribution platform called GOG.com, or Good Old Games. So what this means is because they're part of this capital group, they have money. They have a stable financial condition on the market, so they can concentrate on what they can do best, developing awesome video games and providing games with access to everyone. So they can publish and distribute their own games. So there is no greedy publisher behind them who forces them to throw out unfinished games every year. And they got time, because making a video game takes time, and making an awesome game takes even more time.
Okay. Sounds to me like you're a little bit of a boy?
I'm a fan. I just discovered, as I said, Witcher 3 and finished it. I had this game for several years on my hard drive, but I never played it. I don't know why. And then I watched Netflix show last year, and I found it so good that I wanted to give it another try. And I started Witcher 3, and it was just a blast. I'm completely in love with this game. So that is why I picked this company, because I wanted to have a personal connection with the company or brand, something that I use or love. So that is why I picked them. So what's the meaning of their logo? Okay, you see the Northern Cardinal is a little bird you can see here on the left. It's a cute little bird. And that is what they see themselves in the gaming industry. It is intrepid, it is bold, confident, flying high and aiming even higher. And the color, the cardinal red, it is something that connects with another bird from the Slavic mythology. It's called the raroc. It's very close to their cultural roots. And the raroc is a small firebird who believe to bring luck to people. So this red also stands for energy and the inner fire that burns in every single member of this game studio. So that is what drives them forward. They put all their effort to make the best RPGs in the world. And you can say they are free like a bird because they are not in need of a big publisher for their games, right? They're bold, they're fearless, even rebellious. And they're full of passion and energy. And that is the fire that is burning inside of them. So that is their identity. That is their story. Like one of my favorite logo designers used to say, logo design is not about communication, it's about identification. And I think it's exactly that what we have to see here. So here's a short overview over their guidelines. You see the logo itself on the right, and then the two colors. The cardinal red, that is the Pantone 199C, and then they use just plain simple black. As a font, they use the Proxima Nova. That is a pretty looking sans serif, and they already used this font in their logo type, and they customized it a bit with those sharp angles you see. So that absolutely makes sense to me, right? Why do you want to change that, you might ask?
Yeah, well, why would you change that?
Well, yeah, it is beautiful, but it has way too many details. So when you shrunk it down, it works barely on small sizes, right? So, and I bet you haven't even seen his eye. There is a little eye inside this bird, and I can tell you, oh boy, this is a very angry looking bird. So there are way too many details. And also simple black and white, anyone? I mean, that is their monochrome version right there on the right. But what if you can't use shades? Well, like if you just want to put your logo and stitch it on some cap, or I don't know, like that is something that also kind of bothers me. And also the logo type itself is seems like it kind of floats in the air because there are so many sharp angles on the letter's legs. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think we can change that or fix that. So, in short, the good and the bad. The good, it's an awesome storytelling, right? It nails the company's cultural roots perfectly. That is the identification. Those are their roots, and the logo itself is bold, it's confident, and very impactful. High contrast, very good. But the bad is it's way too complicated. There is no clean black and white version, and it works not good on small sizes. So the question is how I'm gonna change this, or how I'm gonna try to fix this, because, like I said before, the identity and their story is clear. That is something that is just beautiful and works very, very nicely. So that is a thing I don't want to touch, and I also don't want to change the overall concept. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the look, but not the idea. We stay true to ourselves. So that is also the goal, to make it simpler, to make it work on small sizes, but to maintain their values, but also to keep the general concept. So those are the first steps. And now I'm going to show you my sketching process.
Looking forward to seeing this.
Yeah. I already used before before I even start in Illustrator, I just start with simple pen and paper.
Wait, can you share that?
We're still in the Keynote deck, I think.
No, I'm not started right yet. So okay. I'm gonna start right here. So
there we go.
Yeah, just made a time lapse of my sketching process, and I started to just make some explorations with the head of the bird, played around with a bit of negative space, which is kind of interesting. But then I decided would be better to just show the whole bird's body at a position like he spread his wings open up in the sky. So he has some sort of position like, come at me, bro. I'm a rebel. I'm free. I'm a bird.
I'm sure that's what the bird is saying. Come at me, bro.
Yeah.
You
right.
better step up. All right. I like seeing your sketching process, though. This is the first for the show, and that we're actually seeing pencil sketching with hands and pencils.
Yeah. Thanks. Nice. So this is the final sketch I made when I'm gonna show, and those are all my explorations I did, not in a specific order, but we're gonna take the top left and go into Illustrator.
I kind of like also number 3 in that grouping there. That was pretty nice as well. Something to think about. I have a question for you. Can you bring it back that last image, please?
Okay.
Sketch.
I try. 1 moment.
All the way at the end. Oops. Right around, not here, but I have a question for you. I often try to draw animals and birds and things like this using very geometric, simple shapes, but they always wind up not looking like the animal. Are you studying the animal first before you draw, or how are you able to capture the essence of the animal, the icon?
Of course, I try to look up for pictures of the animal I want to draw, but also if you just don't have time or patience, you just check Dribble for those logo designs from animals or of animals. Because when you type bird in or on Dribble or Behance, you probably can get a lot of results just from awesome designers who did a lot of logo explorations in a good style. It also is some kind of inspiration for me.
Okay. All right. Continue on, please.
Okay. So now we're going to let's go digital. We jump right into Illustrator. And before I start, I just wanted to say it's very hard for me to recreate my logo construction and process completely from scratch again to record it. So please forgive me. I just want to show you each layer step by step. I'm going to show you each layer one after another. so we can
Absolutely.
see what I did.
And I don't
Also
think you can
speeds up.
apologize for this, because people do want to see the process, because it's always a big gap between seeing a real photo and then an intention and then seeing the finished product. So please take your time and share it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I put my sketch here on the top left, and a little picture of the Northern Cardinal beneath, so we can see what we have to deal with. Okay, so I set up my basic grid. I always use the Illustrator default grid, but always make sure to, when you use the default grid, to make sure that you enable the function snap to grid as well, because if you haven't, then this whole Illustrator default grid doesn't make sense.
Right.
So I'm setting up my smart guides here for my basic construction, and you can already see I have its head, its body, and now I'm gonna set some single circles and lines here on its head, because I want to make a cutout, which will be some kind of negative space in the later logo mark, because that is the area where you can see here, if you look at the Northern Cardinal, he has this black feathers around his face, and that is some sort of negative space I want to use in my later logo mark. So now I'm just convert all my smart guides back to normal paths. Just going to show you. That is the basic construction. And I'm going to fill that with a shade, with gray. And here with a basic grid. And that is our complete logo mark so far. That's the first step. So the second step is to...
Hey Mark, are you using Pathfinder to convert all those shapes into the mark that you drew?
Not necessarily. I just mostly I just try to fuse those single paths manually together, so I have I'm in total control of what's going on, because sometimes when you just I don't know, just mark some of the spaces and then hit the button and it fuses it all together, it often creates some unnecessary anchor points and stuff, and I don't like that. So that's something I not always do.
Wait, so I'm unclear. How did you create those shapes from just drawing lines then?
I might take the... Okay, wait, let me show you.
Is that the same question that Dansky's asking, Chris?
Is it? I don't know.
So
yeah, but he was showing us step by step everything, and then magic, and it was a bird.
Yeah,
that's the part. Wait a minute, when did that happen?
Okay.
All right.
So basically, you see all those lines,
yeah,
and I just delete all those anchor points from those circles, for example, so I get the upper left or right part of the circle, and then I hit the command and J, I believe, to fuse those paths together. So I handedly
can you? This is a live file, right?
No,
it's not.
It's not just a video, just recording.
Oh. You fooled me. I thought you were like live clicking on all these things. Okay, I'll hit on that and delete those points and join it. Okay, so everybody who may or may not be following what's going on, let me just explain what's going on. Marcus really likes to have control over his geometry, and he doesn't like extraneous points, and you will get those if you use Pathfinder or Shape Builder. You get a lot of stray points. Most of us will go back in and clean those up, but he's like, you know what, I want to do it that way. So what he's doing is he's going and editing the circle and deleting it with the direct selection tool, so that he gets the back half of the curve, and then where points overlap, he circles or selects both points and hits Command J to connect them, and then makes a one path. So he's being very intentional about it. All right, thank you.
Yeah,
you got it. Okay. Sorry, I had to ask you on the pre-recorded video. Keep going.
Okay, so gonna jump a little forward. Okay, yeah, so that was the first step. Now for the second step, I wanted to make a custom font because like I mentioned earlier, those very sharp angles they use on their logo type makes it kind of float in the air. And I just wanted to try to make something on my own. So I thought it would be a great thing to search for a very condensed font. And I found this font called Able. It's available in Google Fonts, but the bad thing is it's only available in one font style. So that is no problem for us because we just gonna create our own font style. We make it thicker. So in order to do that, we start with we make a path out of this font, and we activate our smart guides, and then we're gonna measure this exact width of this letter. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna need those numbers later, and then make a copy of this letter, paste it, and take it up into the front, fill it with a good red, and then I create an outline from it. And then I delay the inner outline. So once I did this, I take this offset path, or this outline, I copy the numbers from the width, make an offset path, remember, okay? And just hit exactly this number we measured. And to get the exact offset path in the middle, right between those two outlines, we divide this number by 2. So we get exactly the half of the letters width. And that is our basic structure we're going to use for our later exploration.
Okay.
It's a really fast and simple way to customize your own font. Okay, so now I'm gonna recreate this step for every other letters in our logo type, which I prepared. You can see it here, okay. And then we take one of those offset paths, like the P here, and then we make a second offset path. Now we can define the new width of our new font style. I want to make it thicker, so just typed in 3.5 pixels, somehow kind of look good. And click OK. And that's basically everything we have to do in order to make our font more thicker. So I recreated the steps with all the other letters in the logo type. And you can see how the overall font become much bolder. And now what I'm going to do is like I'm setting up some angles for the cutouts, because I also wanted to keep that idea of those sharp angles they used for the current logo type. So I used 45 degrees angle and also this angle from the K here, so I can fit it nicely into the T. But just those few letters get these sharp angles. And then basically we just fuse all offset paths in one shape with the angles cut out. So this is our final logo type. And the last thing I did was to make some kerning or letter spacing. So I just choose the width of 10 pixels, and you can align all letters and say that it should be all letters exactly the same width of 10 pixels. But then, kerning, you have to figure out what letters you have to reduce the white space in order to balance everything optical nicely out. So that is what I did here. There's no correct mathematical theory or rule here. I think you just have to trust your eyes. Okay. Looks good. R. Okay. D, and this is the trademark symbol. So that is our final logo type. And I think it still has this vibe going on, which they have in their current logo type. So now we have those things, the logo mark and the logo type. And in the last step, we're gonna fuse those together and place it in one file. Okay, I'm gonna start with the logo mark inside this grid. And then I'm set some smart guides to define some spaces. There's a common rule you can apply here just to define the height of your logo type. You just take the half of your logo mark's height in order to have a good ratio between logo mark and logo type. And I thought it would be a good fit to place the logo type in this exactly height, because there's this wing coming down and it's perfectly aligned with the logo type. Once I did that, I defined the clear space. It's the same rule here. It's half the height of the logo mark. Like the logo mark itself is 6x and the clear space is 3x or x. And also the space between logo mark and logo type is 1x. So this is something I always do when I'm finishing up my logo files, to define a basic grid and also some clear space in order to, so that the logo truly can work. Because when you don't define clear space and such things, and you deliver the file to the client, he will use the logo wrong. So this is always something you have to consider when you prepping up your logo files. And that's somehow my process. Kind of quick, I know, but just wanted to show you guys what's going on in my files.
Yeah, it was nice to see you take a typeface and then modify it. Kind of interesting process, not one that I would do. And I'm just very interesting to see how you took a typeface and modified it to relate to the angles from the icon that you've created. I noticed a couple of things. I just want to take a moment to tell everybody this, that what is that called? Mono width typefaces are, you could apply this to ones that aren't. You may monostroke, meaning that it's even throughout the stroke in terms of its width. You could use the trick that Marcus just shared with you. I think some of the comments here in the 400 plus people that are watching was like, oh, very interesting process how he modified the letter form. I do want to say this as a public service announcement for all designers here. You have to be aware that the horizontal stroke has to be thinner than the vertical stroke, because otherwise it looks too fat. So mathematically, they're the same, but optically, they're going to feel too heavy. And if you zoom into it, you'll see what I'm talking about. Just to let you guys know. So the stroke, the horizontal stroke of the E, the 3 bars that go horizontally are relatively too thick optically for what's going on. So I would go back in there and adjust those things. I think you need that with the E and parts of the D and possibly the C, but since it's curved, it may not matter. Okay, what else you got for us?
Okay, so that was my logo process, all right. Trying to type gently here because I don't want to hurt my keyboard's feelings. Sorry. Okay, so that is the final logo.
Mm. Oh, now it makes a lot more sense, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, okay, look at it.
Very clean.
Very clean. So when Marcus was drawing this in the gray against a white background, it didn't have that contrast and that visual punch. And it felt like it was missing something in the eye. But I think he knew that it was going to be on black, and then it fills in the eye. And it's actually a very striking mark. It's very simple. Well done there. Keep going.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, so here we see the before and after. You can see the proportions are clearly different now. In the old logo, you can see that the logo type is kind of small compared to the logo mark. Now we're gonna we have to fix this now, or we had to fix this. Yeah. Also, this is the alternative version, the portrait version. And you can see clearly that this logo has its full potential when you use it on a black background. Kind of works on white too, but it truly has its full potential when you use it on this dark surface. So this is also black and white. And here is some of my simple meaning, the breakdown of the logo mark itself. So what is the meaning? Like we have this northern cardinal, what we try to accomplish with this mark. Also, its wings are in the shape kind of a flame or fire, which symbolizes the passion and the energy they have. And also this particular position of the cardinal bird. It says like, come at me, bro. He's rebellious. He's free. He's a rebel. He's independent.
You're saying, come at me, bro.
You know, and yeah, also this the combination between Northern Cardinal and this fire flame thing refers to the mythological creature here, the Rarok from the Slavic mythology. So that is the symbol meaning. Here are the clear space and the grid on a black surface. And also this is my style sheet. I often try to create to combine all things and pack it in one single sheet, like the logo construction, the logo meaning, the colors, the used fonts, and what the logo is about, or what something about the brand or company itself. So I added one additional color to the black and red. It's called Pantone Warm Red. And I don't know if you noticed that, but I put a very, very subtle gradient inside the logo mark, because it adds a little depth to it, especially on black surface. And this is my exploration board, or as I call it, fun board, where I just throw in all my shapes and explorations and type down stuff I'm thinking about, what I can do better, what is good, what is wrong. And that is like something I think you have to make in order to break through, to be free and try different things out, and just let your creativity run wild. So
I wonder if any have any questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So you can show us in real life now? Are we doing mock-ups?
Both. Okay, let's see how this works in real life, or best part, applications or mock-ups. You're right, Chris. So I started with the website. This is a screenshot from the actual website, from the normal desktop version, also from the mobile version. can see it works beautiful even as a favicon in a web browser. And they also have a own merchandise store where they sell merchandise of their franchises like Cyberpunk or Witcher. So I made an alternative version for this logo as well, just for the store, so they can put this logo on their store. And I thought it would be very cool to have their own app for the store. So talking about merchandise, right? So I'm going to show you some merchandise. Okay. Hey, they could even put their own logo mark on t-shirts, which they could sell. I would buy it. I'm honest with you. Works even beautiful on a label, or you could make pins out of it.
I really like those enamel pins. Yeah, they pop out.
Yeah, me too. Thanks. It's something where they could improve their current state, like to merchandise their own brand identity or their corporate identity more. So people would buy this. Also games, right? Because they publish games, they make games. This is some of the game copies, Witcher Wild Hunt. Recently came out for the Switch, the complete edition. Very good game, even on Switch, beautiful. So can use it on signs, or they could use the logo mark on, I don't know, like some sort of Easter egg inside of their own games. They did that before in The Witcher, and they could do that even in the new game they currently working on in Cyberpunk. Or even bigger signs like this. This could be on their office, right? So works great here too. So I think that's it. So thank you very much. And before I'm done, I wanted to say thank you to our guys from the Futur. Thank you, Chris. Thanks to all the guys. Thank you what you're doing for this community, putting out all this awesome content. It's amazing. I'm very grateful to have this chance to show off my work, my process. A very truly great experience. So thank you, and thank you also CD Projekt Red for being just there, for being awesome and making this awesome games. So
all right. Woo!
That being said, thank you.
Good job. Okay. All right. I want to do a little analysis and critique. I think in the past, people have said, hey, we want to hear your thoughts on this. So as with Adil, I'm going to do the same thing with you, Marcus.
Yeah.
Well, congrats. Great job. And whenever we see the logo live in space and see how it's applied, it comes to life. Again, if you're not doing mock-ups to present to your clients, you may be selling yourself a little bit short. Clients don't have that imagination. So it takes me back to my corporate identity days when I was in school. Doing the mark is sometimes work and it's painful, but doing the applications, drawing the uniforms, designing the trucks and the packaging, that was like really, really fun. You got to let your creativity loose. And there are many questions that I have about this mark, and so we're going to get right into it. First of all, Mark, can you help me monitor some of the comments and see if they want to ask Marcus any question before I start digging in? Now, luckily, Marcus sent me the files, so I have some files to look at this time. So I'm going to dig into the files in a second. So, yeah. Marcus, let's answer some questions. Are there any questions that we need to address at first?
See, there's a lot of good comments here. A lot of people love the redesign. I think other comments were just kind of commenting on CD Projekt Red as a company. They hope you get this job because they're a big company, and apparently they're one of the leaders in the Warsaw Stock Exchange. So, like you're saying, they've got some money. As far as the design goes, someone was asking specifically about the red contrast. Is it enough to go against the black background? I think that's just more of an aesthetic question. What do you think, Chris?
Okay, sorry. I thought you were going to ask Marcus. So I'm busy right now, so ask the question.
Okay. Well, yeah, someone was asking, like, does the red contrast well with well against a black background?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
You know, classic color combination is white, black, and red. Just awesome color combination.
Yeah.
It's used a lot of different places. I don't want to mention where, but you know, you're familiar with this color palette. It's very striking. It's probably the most powerful color combination I know of: red, black, and white.
Mm-hmm. And we had another question in regards to kerning. And when you were doing all of the manual kerning there, what was your sort of rationale behind how much space you're putting?
Good question. I just started with 10 pixels by default and figured something out what looks kind of great. I tried to refer to the old logo type they use. They have currently very wide running or much logos space, kind of letter space between each single letter. So I used that to orientate me to look it up. But I had no specific process behind it. Just figured it out by myself with my eyes. Just don't know how to describe this. Sorry, I'm just talking gibberish.
Okay. There's a trick for kerning. If you guys ever want to work out kerning, and somebody mentioned in the comments, I read this, is you take your thing and you think it looks great, and one way to fool your mind is to flip it upside down 180 degrees and then kern it again, and then flip it back and then kern it again, and keep doing that till you feel like it's right. And it's part art, it's part science. There isn't a formula. You have to do this optically, and it takes a little bit of time to train your eye. Okay, having said that, I'm ready to jump in here. Are we ready to do this? So I'm going to do this right now. I'm going to share my screen. And so Marcus, I'm going to take over control here.
Okay.
And where's my
file?
Stop. So this is the file that Marcus sent to us, which is pretty awesome. It's all here. And apparently I'm missing this typeface able and Proxima Nova. Chris doesn't have Proxima Nova installed. Okay, get over it. I have a question for you, Marcus. These icons you included, did you draw these to be part of the identity system? See, that's how talented he's flexing on us right now. He's like, you know what? Not only am I going to draw the mark, I'm going to draw a little icon set too. And it looks really good just to kind of strengthen the presentation. I think that's a really smart decision that you did there. Do you always do something like that when you're presenting?
Yes, because I very love making icons.
Great. So I know that they're mostly designers who are tuning in, but there are also some companies and some smart entrepreneurs that are starting out that are watching our channel because they're curious about how to work with designers. So if you like this work, make sure you look up Marcus. We'll include his information in the comments below. Make sure you check that out. And I will be flashing his URL once more in a little bit. I think it's Rentsch.design. Is that right?
Yeah, that is right. Correct.
Okay. I didn't screw that up. Okay. So you can expect more things like this if you go check out his work. So those of you that are curious, go check it out. Now, my first comment was when I saw you designing this as gray on white, it didn't feel like the cardinal because I think the blackness of the eye is such a distinct part of the character. So when you popped it on black, I'm like, oh, the cardinal's there. Exact same shape, but I think we need this part. So one of my suggestions would be in the white version, I think a black shape needs to be there. Now I'm going to butcher your design. Just 1 second, okay? So I'm going to select this, and I'm going to just draw. I'm going to copy this angle. Copy, paste in front. Okay, so it's the same angle, and I'm going to quickly give it a shape. And I just want to see how this is going to look and see if it changes the character or not. So bear with me, everybody. Let me cut this, paste in front. Change to the default colors here and go like that. And people are saying, hey, we want you to do this live. Trust me, you guys, you don't want to see us doing this live because there's a lot of weird decisions that are being made. And maybe I'm going to prove to you why you don't want to do it live because I probably will mess up. So I think the pre-recorded video is a really good alternative, which allows you guys to see the design as it takes shape, but we can spare you of some of the little mistakes and like pecking around trying to figure out what the heck we're trying to do. Okay. So I just think that for some reason, having that blackness in there is going to help this bird read as a cardinal. And now I'm realizing right now, maybe the wing has to be black too. Let me further butcher your design, but let me just try what happens.
No
And
problem.
you guys can tell me in the comments probably, Chris, stop doing this. I hate you. But I'm going to do it anyways, because design is about curiosity and asking yourself those what if questions. Okay. So for comparison's sake, we're going to take this. I have to unlock this again. I'm going to take this. I'm going to scale this guy down. I'm going to put it left and right. Okay. Left and right. I'm going to bring this one a little closer so we can see a little bit better. And then now I'm going to go and delete these things and see. Oops. Uh-oh. Did I do something weird? Okay. There we go. So as drawn against white and as two color option, I believe even if Marcus doesn't love this, he could also provide a two color option for the client. I think one of his criticisms was, if you want to embroider this, if you want to do something else with this, will it work as a one color design? I love that kind of thinking, that kind of design discipline that you're exerting on yourself, or making sure that you stay within those constraints, because a mark, in my opinion, needs to be able to be reduced down to one color, black and white. Does it still work? And he's proven that it does. So if we had the luxury of adding gradients or additional colors, I think maybe adding the black really allows me to see that that's the cardinal. It's a weird illusion, but having a little bit of the black. You guys, let me know in the comments right now. What do you think? Does it need the black? Does it not? Tell me to go walk off a long bridge and take a long walk off a short bridge or something like that. The last thing I want to talk about is this, is we were talking about the width. And this is something I think we need to talk about, because this has happened with many of our logo therapy sessions before, where I've stayed out of the critique part. But I'm going to draw this letter. Excuse me. I'm going to draw this letter. Okay. And if I were to take this, and that's the same width as the vertical stroke. But if I were to take this and rotate it 90 degrees, I'm going to hit copy. Okay, there we go. And I were to draw an E, you're going to see something happen if I don't screw this up. So I'm going to match it to right there. Okay, I'm going to take this, I'm going to bring it up, and I'll match it to that. The logo therapists have been really good at explaining really design principles to you guys as they're working on their design. But if you stare at this long enough, you're going to start to see this horizontal stroke, this one that I'm moving around, feels thicker than this vertical stroke. And it's just the way we see things. And I think designers, like even back to the Roman times, started to figure out that optical perception is more important than mathematical perception. And because you look at it, you're like, it's a little bit off. So this is what I'm talking about here. These strokes, the vertical and the horizontal stroke, are exactly the same. And I want to prove it to you. I found a typeface. This is Trade Gothic Bold Condensed number 20. Okay. And I put it up here. It's a very similar, similar vibe. And there's even DIN, which I love this typeface. It's not as condensed as this one that Marcus is using. And I'm going to take a look at it. So if I were to take a look at this and hit Command-Shift-O, which is convert it to outline, you're going to see like, okay, does it feel even to you? Especially if I zoom out a little bit. It probably does, but you're going to see something different. You're going to see the mathematical and the optical parts are different. And these are professional, like world-class designers who work on typefaces. And this is a great way to learn. If you don't have the opportunity to study under a master, or even to afford books or whatever, or even time to watch these kinds of videos, just open up your typeface, convert it to outline, and study it and see like what decisions were made. Because after thousands of hours of drawing typefaces, these designers have learned something. You see this right now? You see the difference between this width and this one? You're like, but you know what? That's a different style typeface. It's not exactly like this. It's true. And if you look at another typeface, there's another one. Okay, so this is a DIN middle shrift, I think. And I'm going to convert it to outlines. I'm going to do the exact same thing too. I'm going to take the vertical stroke. I'm going to measure it like I'm going to do right now. And you guys can let me know I'm boring you. Yeah, we get it, Chris. Yawn. Okay, I get it. I just want to finish this, and then we'll never talk about this again until the next episode. I'm going to rotate it. I haven't changed it at all. There's no magic here. I'm going to drop it here, and you're going to see it again. Okay? And you're going to notice that about different parts too, about how the K hits with the leg of the K and how it's thicker or thinner depending on what happens with the way it's connecting to the vertical stroke. Okay, that's it for this part. I'm going to try and open this up and see if there are any other questions. Mark, are there any other questions? I can't read the comments right now, so let me know if they're saying something weird about.
Yeah, well, just addressing, going back to the horizontal versus the vertical strokes there. So just to be clear here, because people are wondering if there's a standard or a rule to that. But from what you're saying, it sounds like it's more of an optical versus a mathematical
Absolutely.
difference.
It's an optical thing that you need to adjust. You can say rule of thumb, maybe 90% of the thickness, but it also has a lot to do with the character of the typeface or what you want to create. Some typefaces have much skinnier or narrower horizontal strokes as they do vertical strokes. And when you get into more like, I think I'll show you an example right now. I'll show you an example. I'm going to type this out again. I'll type in project and I'll use all caps. Funny spelling of project. Okay, and I'm going to use Dido. Totally different kind of typeface. I'll do bold. Now you can see with Dido, the horizontal strokes are extremely skinny compared to the vertical stroke. And believe it or not, this is classified as a modern style typeface. And depending on the typeface, the characteristics, the feeling, the vibe that you want to create, you're going to see that's different. So just be aware of that. Now, when you guys design this, yourself, just make a decision, like optically, just make it a little bit narrower and you'll be fine. I think the other reason why this is a little bit complicated is you have to take into consideration the most commonly used size of this typeface. So if it was meant for text, meaning used in a book, you want to design it based on that size and that usage versus a giant sign that's like 30 feet high. So you're going to need to adjust the stroke based on the most commonly used application, and it's going to be a little bit different. All right. So that's the answer to that. Okay. Anything else before we get out of here?
Yeah, no other major questions, but you were asking the audience whether they like the black or not. A lot of people said no black.
Okay. That's fair enough. So we're just exploring here. So they're like Team Marcus. Good.
Yay.
Yeah. So just exploring here.
One
art has a black face. That's the thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, questions about the word marks versus the logo mark and when you should use both, when you shouldn't have one or the other. What's the thought process behind that?
There's no thought process. I mean, you can see that the bigger a company is, the more money they have for marketing, they start to move away from the word mark. And let me just show you guys what we're talking about here. I'm going to take this. I'm going to hide this one. So this is called a word mark. It's made up of letters, okay? And so when I bring this back, I'm going to hide this now. I'll hide this. This is an icon. The two together is a combination mark. That's a technical term, I believe. And all of this is considered a logo or logo type. And logo type has been used in exchange for trademark. And a trademark is something to let other people know this is just not a generic word. This is the proprietary or copyrighted registered name of our company and registered mark of our business. So do not copy it. Okay, so designers a long time ago started to switch out the word trademark with logo. So logo is just this broad umbrella term to describe any one of these things. Okay, did that help, Mark?
Yep.
All right.
And another question for Marcus. How long did this take you? And for you, what's the right amount of time for you to deliver something like this to a client?
Good question.
Good question. Yeah, I think I worked the last 3 weeks on this project since you guys asked me to take this live stream. So I think 3 weeks is a good amount of from the idea, from sketching and to delivering the final files for a single project. So
wow. Okay, so it's not an overnight process. It takes some time. Hence, one of our other logo therapists said, it didn't get to a place where he was happy, so we postponed that. And it'll eventually happen, but it does take a lot of time. This is
Yeah.
not just sit there in 3 minutes and come up with something that you are happy with. Okay, Mark, any other questions before we wrap up here?
Nope, we're good with questions, but I just want to remind everybody, if you have a lot of these questions about logo design, our course is on reduced tuition now, so I'll drop the link here in the comments, but it's a great overview. It'll show you a lot of these little specific things that you guys have been asking here. So,
and we love seeing you guys interact with us. And at the start of the stream, we had 150 people, and now I think we're around 500 people. So that's really cool. I hope you guys enjoy this. And I'm going to then hopefully put this thing up on the screen, and it doesn't flash, but it's going to flash. It'll be all right. The original Mark, which I thought was pretty interesting, bold and crazy, with this bird, this cardinal that his head explode, or he's like ready to fight. And in Marcus's word, come at me, bro. And the new Mark, which in this context looks really clean, modern, bold, and fresh. So CD Projekt Red, if you guys are paying attention, maybe you might consider talking to Marcus, if not for your logo, for something else. And I think that's it. So on behalf of everybody at the Futur team, Marcus, thank you very much. Thank you for doing this. Oh, I forgot. I have a slide here. Yeah, this is how you get in touch with Marcus. Don't mind the blinking, guys. That's what we're doing. So Jonah, cue the music. Let's get us out of here. And I hope you guys have a great day.
Oh, man.
Jonah on the ball. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. But now he cuts away to Mark laughing. Thank you very much. We have this mission to achieve 1 billion people. You guys are part of that billion. Thank you very much for tuning in and watching with us. If you want to support the channel, go and make a donation today. Be part of this wonderful group and community. Marcus, thanks very much. We're out of here.